We are live, ZLS 033, with our very, very special guest. Super excited to have him on today, Santosh Yadav. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I'm having a good day. Got you as my guest. All things are looking up. Now, as I understand, it's super early over there. Is that true?
Yeah. It's 4 a.m.
4 a.m. Goodness.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, we really appreciate you taking the time to come on.
No problem.
Yeah, next time we'll have to find a better time to get you on. Maybe we could do a special slot or something, because I feel bad about waking you up in the morning. Actually, I had this thing that happened to me one time. I was working with Max from In Depth.
Max
He had,
Gutsby.
yeah. So this was before he had started In Depth, and he was talking about he had an idea for an article that he wanted to do that I thought would have been a. Jordan says, "Good morning."
Hey, Jordan. Good
I
morning.
recommend coffee, so that's a wise choice. Hey Jordan, thanks for coming. But yeah, so Max he wanted to do an article, but he didn't have time to write it. But he had already done some of the research for it, so he was like reaching out on Twitter to find, does anyone want to just write this article that I've already kind of researched? So I'll give you all the information. I just don't have time to write it. And I was like, this was several years ago, so I was like, I'd love to be in that part of that conversation, but I don't feel confident enough to write anything yet. So I like volunteered. And it turned out that Gia Lee, the guy who does Zone.js, yeah, he ended up writing it, but I was like, they let me show up to see it, and they scheduled it out and put it on the calendar. I guess they didn't realize I was in the U.S. or anything, and it was literally at like 2 a.m. in the morning, and I was like, screw it, I will wake up at 2 and I will show up. So I've been in your spot before, and well, I really appreciate you taking the time, like I said. So, anyways, Santosh, you recently had this amazing article on In Depth, My Journey into Tech.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Dan Wallin prompted you to write this. So how did that come about?
Actually, there was my initial tweet when I decided to move into this new apartment. So my entire childhood is I lived in a slum. So I mean the slums which you can relate it to. You might have seen in movies, I think. So it was. I mean, we had a very small house, like maybe not more than 120 square feet. So that was our house.
Wow.
I lived there for like 28 years, 29 years. And then I moved to Pune. I decided to, I mean, it's been quite a while in Pune here, but here also I was living in one of the owned house, not the apartment or something like that. It was big house, but it was like, there was a single building where I used to live. And then finally I decided, okay, now it's enough, because where I used to live, we had a road going outside my house, so I could always hear some noises even in the night, and it was not that secure, right? I mean, it's open place, anyone can come. So I finally decided, okay, now it's time to move on, and let's look for a new place. And it's out of blue. So my wife was surprised. What happened? What happened to you? I mean, why suddenly? So I was like, okay, let's see. So we went to look to 2 properties, and then we decided the second one. And I was like, okay, I think let's tweet it out. Let's see how people relate. People actually really relate, because people who have born in Mumbai, they can actually relate to my story, because most of them have lived in those slums, right?
Yeah.
So, and then after I tweeted it, Dan said, okay, I think I would love to hear the longer story, how you made it. So I was like, okay, I mean, let me think about it. I was planning to move on, but I was really eager to actually write about it. So somehow I took some time after I moved on and decided to pen it down. And of course, it was really exhausting for me, because thinking back those memories.
Dude, just reading it was emotionally exhausting. I felt like all the ups and downs. It was crazy. But yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this is so after I mean, of course, it was really in bad state because writing it in my own words. So I was really a little bit, emotionally exhausted, and then I couldn't pen it down properly. I think those words were like a little bit confusing. Then the entire in-depth team, so Stressy, the who is the editor, she helped a lot. She did a lot of work, and after everything was done, she
Cool.
was like, "Santosh, you have to do a lot of things." I was like, I mean, of course, I was writing it from my heart. It's not like
Yeah.
something which is planned. So I mean, there was a lot of spelling mistakes which she had to fix it.
Yeah.
The longer words, I went on to write longer words. So she was like, okay, you have to really actually short them down. I was like, okay, I will do it try to do better next time, but I don't think I'll be writing the similar story again ever.
Yeah. Yeah. This is like a once. I don't want to say in a lifetime, but this is like once in a long time kind of article.
Exactly.
But I really appreciate you putting this into words and sharing it with the rest of us because yeah, it's I think it's both parts like commiserating a little bit, like understanding your struggle and feeling that struggle. Like I really felt that coming through, just hearing you talk about like how you were like on the verge of crying all these times, and it's just like I don't know, man. My heart was breaking for you each time something bad happened, but yeah, also the sort of the hope that came with it from just like years and years of working and trying to get a little bit better every day, and eventually you get to this place where you're able to move your family into this really nice apartment and all that stuff, and that transformative power of that is so cool. And yeah, Corbin, he was on the show on Monday. He says you were the first Angular 10 article he read after release. So you can see, like, not only is it helping your own life, it's helping all of us. Like, you're sharing your knowledge and sharing your stuff and your experiences. I don't know. I could go on forever about this. I'm a big talker, but yeah,
Thanks a lot.
it's really cool to see your impact and where it all came from. So yeah, do you want to kind of for people who haven't read the article yet, do you want to give like a quick version of the stuff you've gone through? Here, I'll while you're doing that, I'll link to the actual article here too, so people can find it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean, so of course, I mean, I've removed the initial part. Like, I don't remember much of my childhood. I'm sure a lot of people don't. So, that's something which I really regret as well, because my wife is like always, she always says, okay, you don't remember anything from the past. I was like, okay. I mean, that's how I am, right? I don't remember anything what happened in past.
You've
So,
only got eyes for the future, Santosh, and I like that about you.
So I don't remember much of my childhood, what I did, or I mean, I can remember few parts from my school days. I mean, maybe some memories where I have fight with another boys, or there were a few good memories maybe. So that's what I remember. So, but I mean, the schooling, my school days were like, I was in school where the entire curriculum was in Hindi, which is our which is our language, right? So we mostly speak Hindi here in India. So I was really comfortable. I mean, I was like, okay. I mean, I think Hindi is more than enough to learn. And then suddenly, I think in class 8 or something, we got introduced to English.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I have to just get like passing marks. That's what I need to do. I have to somehow not to fail in that subject. And I was pretty good. I mean, in English as well. But once I actually moved out of 10th, that's where actually everything started.
Gotcha. What were you speaking at home? So you started out Hindi at school. Were you speaking a different language at home?
No. Yeah. Okay. So we had Hindi as well as we had our mother tongue, which is we speak this language in North, which is called Bhojpuri.
Bhojpuri.
Yeah. So I mean,
I probably butchered that, but it sounds cool.
So yeah.
Very cool. So man, that's crazy for me. All I speak is English. I know a little bit of French, maybe, but like I can't imagine like dropping into a class where like if they spoke Hindi there, I'd be like, I'd be completely lost. Hoping for passing marks would be more.
Yeah, so same was me for English, right?
Yeah, I feel your
So
pain.
So I mean, once I completed my schooling, and I was like, now I have to move to college.
Yeah,
Initially I struggled because I was not able to get admissions because of low marks which I got in my 10th standard. So somehow some of my father's friend, he suggested that there is something called diploma in computers, a diploma program.
yeah.
Which is like really, and that time I think a lot of people were not aware about that program. It was back in 2002.
Okay.
So yeah, so I think I got lucky. Just to say that. So he just spoke to my dad. My dad was like, okay, let's go, let's apply and check. So we applied, and then I got selected, and the principal of the college was like, okay, look, we already have the admission full, so we have few programs where you can apply for, like it was mechanical, he said mechanical, I think civil, and said computers. So I was like, okay, I couldn't hear anything else. I was like, okay, computers.
Don't need to
So
hear about any other one.
yeah, so I was like,
Nice.
okay, computers, let's take computers. When I came out, my dad was like, okay, why you take computers? I thought you should take mechanical. I was like,
Hmm.
okay, I mean, I think computers would be cool. I was not aware what, I mean, I was not even, I have not even decided what to do in future. I was like, okay, let's take computers.
Yeah.
And then
Had you done stuff with computers before? Like, had you done any
I
programming?
did, no, not even not a single line of programming.
Yeah.
What, because we never had computers at home. So
Okay.
yeah, so I did a small course for like Microsoft Office.
Okay.
Yeah, so I learned a little bit of like Word, Excel, and those stuff. So it was, I did it like after 10th when there was summer vacations.
Yeah.
So okay, that's it. I mean, I was like, okay, that's it. I mean, I never used computer before
Yeah.
that.
That's so crazy that computers just jumped off the page to you then when you saw the options. What was it that made you go computers? Was it just like you were always interested in that, or
I
what
mean,
was it?
I did course, right? I mean, that Microsoft Office course. So I was like, okay.
Okay.
I mean, I think that would be easy. I mean, I mean, I was not aware what to do here, but I was like,
Yeah.
okay, might be easy. So let's take it.
Nice. That's awesome, man. Very cool. So after you went with computers, what happens next?
So I took the admission, and then I realized, okay, I'm into deep shit right now.
Nice.
I thought it will be like computers. Well, where I'll be like using computers, but it was like all the theories, right? So you have to
Yeah.
read, and then you have to study. You have to go and answer it in exams.
What
I was
was it
like,
like computer science stuff at this point, like
yeah.
algorithms? Okay.
No, not
Gotcha.
not algorithms. It was that's one bad part about the education in India. So even though I was in computers, I was actually asked to study electronics. So there were a few subjects related to electronics. There was a few subjects related. Even there was a physics. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Dude, I feel your pain. When I went to college, specifically. I went to college one time here in the U.S. for theology, which is like religion. But
Okay.
I didn't end up doing much with that. But I eventually decided to go back to get computer science, and I was able to take like half my courses were computer science, but the other
Okay.
half was like English, and
Yeah.
I had to take a
Actually.
geology course. I was like, I don't know. It was I was kind of disappointed in all that, but anyways,
I was like really. I mean, what I'm doing? Why I'm reading physics
yeah.
suddenly? I mean,
I had to take a
then
lot of physics too. You needed like a core science, and I chose physics because it seemed like the most math-like. And I was like,
exactly. I mean, physics can make you cry.
yeah. Yeah, well,
So
my wife at the time was doing biology because she was trying to get into pre-med at the time. And I was just like, nope, it's too much memorization for me.
exactly. And
But
then somehow, I mean, there was, I mean, I couldn't understand anything. So the
yeah,
professors were like, they used to come, and then they used to just read out of book.
And
So it
this is
was,
all in English still?
yeah, it's all in
Oh,
English. So they used to come in the class. Like there are around 60 70 people, 60 to 70 students we had in our class, and he's
uh-huh.
just reading out of book. So he's even not trying to actually teach us that what's going on. He's just reading out of book. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay. I mean, and he used to ask to take notes, and then he used to speak so fast that I couldn't write. I mean, I was, of course, I've never written so much English in my entire life. So he used to expect that we will understand and we will write it down. So there were points that were when I actually started crying in the class. I mean, of course, others couldn't see that, but I
Yeah.
started crying. Then I actually hold on to myself not to actually make a scene out of it. But so then I decided, okay, I think
Dude, that feeling of helplessness, though,
yeah.
I couldn't imagine, especially with all you had riding on this. Like that's the whole thing that was in the back of my mind this whole time. Like when I went to school the second time, I don't think it was as high stakes as the situation you were talking about. But I had kids at the time, and it was definitely this sense of I've got to do well on this exam because I got to do something better for my kids, like coming
Yeah.
out of this. So. Yeah,
But I mean,
that's the
it
whole
was,
thing.
yeah. In my case, it was more of about myself because I
Yeah.
already did pretty bad in my school. Actually, I was expecting more, but I think I'm not sure why the marks were too low. So I just hold on to
Right.
myself, and then what decided to do is, let's not write. I mean, I decided not to actually take those notes, and I used to rely on my friends that they will complete it, and then I can just actually copy from there, or I can just read it out of books
Nice.
because that's what they are doing. So they are
Yeah.
just teaching out of books, right? So then I hold on to myself, and then I started reading, and then uh, somehow I could manage to actually not to fail that year. So it was my
Yeah.
first, yeah.
You
So
you outthought the problem. That's awesome. Were they better English speakers than you? Your friends? Could they do a better job of understanding, or was everyone in the same boat where they couldn't understand your
no,
professor?
so there were few, I mean, few of my friends who were from English medium, so
Okay.
they did study entire schooling in English, so they were like really comfortable with it, so they could write faster than me. So I used to rely on them. Okay, you
Yeah.
will just complete it and give it to me. I will just take the notes. It was like that. So I mean,
Nice.
yeah,
Well, it's very nice of your friends. I don't
yeah,
know if I
exactly.
would have been so nice. I'd been like, these are my notes.
I mean, anyways, whatever the professors was teaching was like out of book, so I could
Yeah.
actually go ahead and read from the books rather than actually
Yeah.
taking those
That's
notes.
that's so weird. Why would you need a professor to stand up and read out of a book to you? Why couldn't they just give you the book?
I mean, I think there were few professors who used to explain things, but most of them were like, okay, just take the notes and then you can do it later on.
Yeah. Hmm. Interesting.
So that was actually the first year of my 3 years diploma program, and then
Okay.
second year I think I decided to do better. So I started, started learning from myself. Started learning without actually relying much on professors,
Okay.
because the problem was actually there are few, the tuitions are available, or the what you call private institutes where you go ahead and people can teach you, but it costs money, right? And I
Right.
was like, I was already aware that my family won't be able to afford that much, so I used to read it on myself. And then uh, in second year suddenly we got C++. I was like, C and C++ both, and I realized, okay, now I think it's way beyond my imagination. I don't think so I can do it, because I was not aware of the programming things at all. I mean, I never did
Yeah.
that. So, and the professor was like really, he was so bad at explaining things, really, especially the C professor. So
Yeah.
I don't know what he taught us. I don't remember even at all. So I was like, somehow I think I passed C, but I failed in C++. I think that it was
Yeah.
practicals, and I failed C++. I was like, okay, I couldn't understand anything.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, it's such a crazy thing to think about. Like, so in college, we did a lot of C and like Objective C actually, which was weird
mhm.
for when I went to school. But like just I think C is really good for learning in some ways, because you really need to understand how the computer works, like how the memory
Exactly.
works to
Yeah.
really grasp it. It's not like JavaScript where you have
Yeah.
like the garbage collector coming and doing all this stuff that you don't even need to keep track of.
Exactly.
But yeah, like if you don't have a good instructor in there, that sounds
That's
terrifying.
actually that's what happened actually, and then
And this
same
is
with me.
before like the internet's. Well, this is what, 2002. I mean,
It was 2004.
okay, so there's probably like some decent resources online, but not like now. Like
Yeah, actually.
in the last 15 years, like
Mhm.
one of my professors from college actually has a YouTube channel. He's got like 25,000 subscribers. He just does all kind of C stuff, and he was really good at that. He was really good at explaining things too. But like that kind of thing wasn't a thing 15
Yeah,
years
exactly.
ago.
Nothing was available. I think there was a book on Latest C. The book was
Yeah,
named as Latest C.
yeah,
I think the author name was Yashwant Kanetkar, something like that, if I'm not wrong. So it was book by Yashwant Kanetkar. So he had two
okay,
books, Latest C and Latest C++. I think a
okay,
lot of people used to actually refer it the same book in college, and I was like, okay, somehow C was, I mean, more. I think there was no practical for C, but there was a practical for C++, and I failed. Of course, I don't remember anything. Then, but when I went into third year, I decided to do things a little bit different. I decided to actually say, okay, don't rely on the professors. Just try to see what they are trying to explain. If I can understand anything, it's okay. Otherwise, books are available anywhere. So, but in third year we had Java. So
yes,
suddenly, Java was something which I could relate because my professor was really good. So he was head of the department for computers, and he was really good. The way he used to explain was really simple. So believe me,
man. If you could make Java simple, that's impressive.
yeah, exactly,
So,
exactly. I mean, I had my backlog, right? So I C++ was where I failed, and I went to the C++ this practical exam again without reading C++ even a single line. So he explained Java so well that my all the concepts were cleared, inheritance, polymorphism, and I just went into C++ practical exam and cleared it. I
yeah,
was like,
nice, man. Very, very
okay.
good. That's cool though. Yeah, seeing how learning, well, just in general, I think just the human mind. I'm gonna go way philosophical on you here. I'm sorry, but like learning something completely unrelated can sometimes help open avenues to something
Exactly.
else.
Yeah.
And it's so cool how that works. And just like I feel like human brains are so well suited for pattern matching, and we're really good at identifying these patterns. Like, oh, this Java thing is a lot like the C++ thing, because they're really the same thing, right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So that was I think the final year, and then I skipped few part because when I was about to complete my third year, I mean it was I think my final year's exams, and I got sick. So I had you know I'm not sure what you call it in English. Let me just search out for it.
yeah.
uh, there's something called pilia, which we call, I'm not sure. uh,
Catch you next time, Corbin. He's
yeah,
just saying
so
bye in the chat. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Wait,
So
so what was the disease you had gotten?
jaundice. So I got jaundice.
Jaundice. Oh my
Yeah. So
goodness.
and
My baby had that when she
okay.
was born.
And
But
I used to
that's
get
crazy.
frequently. Yeah. So I was like in my I was doing my third year final exams, and I got jaundice, and
Yeah.
I literally used to struggle. So I used to go to exam hall and then complete my papers, and then I mean it was like 3 hours exams, and by the time I used to complete it, I used to be really exhausted because of this jaundice.
Because of the
And then
disease.
yeah,
That's
so
crazy.
I used to actually try to complete it as faster as possible, and then I come out and then cry. So once my professor actually saw me, and he was like, what happened? So I told him that I have jaundice, and he was like, why you didn't told us actually before actually the exam started? I was like, no,
Yeah.
I wanted to give the exams. He was like, no, we could have actually given you the passing marks, and then it was done, right? I mean, you
Yeah.
don't have to actually come for them. I was like, no, I want
Yeah.
to do actually good. And those were like preliminary, not final year exams, that were like the exams before, which gets counted into your final
Yeah.
exams. And I wanted to really do good. So I did
Absolutely.
that.
No, I respect that a lot, man. That you were I don't know, there's something about that that's like taking responsibility and saying, "No, I don't need your
Yeah,
pity. Give me what I deserve," you know. I
yeah,
don't know.
actually.
I really like that. So,
So I mean, so he was like, okay, I mean, it's good that you are coming, still coming to the exams. Let me know if you need more help from us. I mean, if you need us to actually drop you home or something. I was like, no, I'll manage.
yeah.
So
That
and
was
I
very
mean,
kind of them.
yeah, actually, the professors were really good. So he used to teach us, I think, operating system. So he was the operating system professor, and he was really nice. So
This
he
is the same one as the Java one, or is this a different
no,
one? A
he
different one.
was the different one. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And yeah, so finally, and by the time I think I had my final exams, I was like, okay. I was all the symptoms were gone for jaundice. And then
Awesome, man.
finally, yeah, so final year exams I did pretty well to get an admission into my next, which is a degree program for CS. And this is where another story started. So I was like about to complete my third this diploma program, and then my father said, "Okay, I think we are done enough. I mean, done here. So I think you should start looking for a job." I was like, "Okay, I'm still 19. What should I do? I mean, what kind of job I will do?" And by the third year, I think I was really interested to go ahead and do degree into CS.
Right.
So I remember, so when she told me, I was crying the entire night. I couldn't sleep. And then my mom was like, she saw me. She actually could hear that I was crying. And then next day, when my dad had like night duty, so
Hmm.
he was not at home that time. So my next day he came up. Of course, he had to uh, hear few words from my mom. She was like really angry. Now, why you said to him? I mean, do whatever you want to do, but he is going to study, and we have to make something to actually make it possible. So
Yeah.
my dad was like, okay, and then he spoke to my brother of actually his brother, his big brother. So
Yeah.
his and my uncle, of course. So he was like, okay, I mean, let him study. I'll support. I mean, whatever fee will be required, I will support it. So he was
Yeah.
really nice.
Dude, that's
Then
so awesome. They made it happen. They made it
yeah,
happen for you.
yeah.
That's
So
great.
I mean, before I could take admission, it was like one of the worst floods in Mumbai. So it happened in 2005. I think a lot of people know about it because it was really big and impacted a lot of lives. A lot of people died as well in
Yeah.
2005. So I mean, the area where I used to live was the least impacted because we are like very above the sea level, right? So if like the Mumbai is like this, so I live here.
Yeah.
So I was saved. I mean, we were safe. And
Yeah.
but due to this, I mean, actually, our entire the admission process for degree program got delayed by 2 months. So the thing was actually college was supposed to start in June, but due to all floods, all the documents were gone. So they had to actually delayed by 2 months, and then I think we started college from August of like 2005 it was, and then uh, within 2 months we had exams. I was like, okay.
That's crazy.
But I was actually prepared, so I mean I think I didn't do very bad. I was like, okay, I cleared my all the exams, all the subjects. There was none of the subjects where I failed. And then I think degree program was going really great. I mean, I started reading from the book, so I used to borrow these books from library. So we had our own library, so where I used to borrow the books. And I don't have to pay money, right? So I could take the books from the library and then study it. And the professors were really good, so they used to explain things. Few professors, not all, but yeah,
Yeah.
most. So and then by the I think when I was in third year, I mean, I was supposed to actually there was only 1 year left, and then my dad said, okay, now we are going through worst, so I think you have to drop out. I was like, okay. Then I was just speaking to my friend, one of my friend. He is still my friend.
Yeah.
So he was like, I said, okay, look, I think I don't won't be able to continue. I think this is the last time we are meeting. It was our exams, right? So exams, and then there will be summer vacations. And
Yeah.
he was like, why you're saying like that? So I said, look, I mean, I think my dad won't be able to actually pay the fee for the next year. And he was like, okay, I mean, that's not a big deal. I will do that. So I was really, I mean, I was really
Your friend,
surprised. Yeah, yeah,
that's so
actually,
cool.
Yeah, he actually said to me, and I was like, I'm walking on the road, I was looking his face, and I was about to cry. And he said, "It's nothing. I mean, nothing serious. I'll just let me know. I mean, if he cannot do that, I'll pay your fees." So he was really good friend of mine, and of
Yeah.
course, as I said, we are still friends. And then during my summer vacation, my dad said, "Okay, I think I have managed the money, so I think you can continue." Last year, I was like, "Okay, relieved." And then, of course, I now I had more motivation to actually did do pretty well in my final year exams, and I did pretty well. I think in my final exams I scored around 70%, which was really big deal for me at least. So and then I thought, like, now my struggles are over.
Yeah.
Now I have done like good in studies. I have good marks, but I was not aware, right? So what was
Yeah.
happening? So you know about 2008. I think
Yeah.
every single person who is in IT knows about 2008. What happened there?
Yeah. Well, I was not in at the time, but even being outside of tech in 2008, you still knew like everything's crashing right now.
Yeah, actually,
So
that was worst.
yeah.
So I mean, so I couldn't get a job, of course. So I
Yeah. So you're
more-
coming out of you're finally finished with your degree, you've got everything, and
yeah,
then everything crashes. So
exactly.
it's just when you think you've got it all figured out, it comes
Exactly.
crashing again.
So that was like, again, I mean, I thought, like now everything is taken care of, but again 2008 happened, and then I was on the same track again.
Yeah.
So I thought, look, what to do now. So you will not believe, few of my friends, I think, other apart from me, most of my friends actually had to sit home for a year.
Mm.
So they did, I mean, couldn't get a job. I mean, there was nothing to do. So I got a job, but that was really low paying job. So it was around $70 per month.
Oh wow.
That's, yeah. So that's what and that was actually not a big organization. It was an office with 2 BHK. I mean, two bedrooms, which
Yeah.
was converted into an office. So it
Yeah.
was literally inside a apartment
Yeah.
where you have two rooms, and it was converted into a office, and that's where we used to work. And I remember during summers we had to actually on switch on the 2-3 fans because there was no AC. So we had to actually to open start 2-3 fans so we can actually get rid of all this heat coming from outside. And I could see actually there is nothing to do. So, and there was nothing to actually code as well. So
Yeah. I
the
was gonna
product,
ask you what were you working on? It sounds like nothing.
yeah, actually, so he's asked me to actually do some ASP stuff,
Okay.
active server pages.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was
I've
long.
I've I've messed around with those before. I wasn't.
Okay.
I didn't like them too much, but
Yeah,
I don't like the
same
whole
here.
Microsoft stuff all that much. But
Uh, so I did a little bit of ASP. Then I finally got to. I think at the end of, I mean, when I was about to leave, I did some of. It was ASP.NET. It was new.
okay.
I think version 1.1. So
Mhm.
ASP.NET 1.1, and I did a little bit of them. But one day actually, I had a schedule. So I used to come at 9, leave at 6. I mean, that was my office time.
Right.
So my CEO actually, who was also manager, and what I don't know what, so he was everything at that office. So he actually asked me to actually wait till 8 o'clock. I mean, I was just leaving the office somehow, and he calls me in and he says, "Look," and he started giving me a big lectures that, "Look, if you have to make a good career in IT, you have to stay late," and something like the bullshit, all those bullshit.
You should have been like, okay, I'll stay till 8, but I'm not coming in till 11 or something.
I mean, I could.
He just trying to get more time out of you for nothing.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. So I mean, I was like, okay. So
ridiculous.
I heard everything, and at the end I said, "Look, whatever it is, I'm not going to stay after 6."
Mm.
And he was like, "No, I'm not asking you to stay after 6." I was like, "At just a suggestion, right? I mean, you should stay late. You should do more work." I was like, "Okay, why should I do more work
Well, it
if
sounds
there's
like there
nothing to
wasn't
do?"
that much stuff to do, anyways.
Exactly. I was, I was really surprised. So, but he got angry. Actually, he got angry receiving that response. And
Right.
next day, what he did is there was nothing wrong in that particular product. I mean, even no one was using it. So he said, "Look, there are some issues in this product, and I want it to be resolved today." I was like, "What?" And then,
Today?
yeah, and so I did that. I think I left office around 8 p.m., 8 or 8:30 p.m. And once I reached home, I resigned. So I dropped him a mail that I'm resigning. So that was the first, I think, good step I have taken. But I was
Yeah.
jobless. I was
I,
jobless for
that
about a
takes a
month.
lot of courage, I think, to walk out of a situation like that, where you're not sure, especially if you're not sure what the next step is. So
So that
respect, Santosh. This is going to be the theme of this whole episode, is just respect for Santosh. But yeah, sorry, keep going, please.
yeah. So I left that job. I mean, I was at home about for a month, and
Yeah.
then I came to know about from my friend. So she said, okay, look, there is you know, this electricity boards, right? So in India we have electricity boards in every city, and
Okay.
as well as in every states. So we in Maharashtra state where I live, so that particular company required few people who can work on contract basis. So it was like contract job, and you don't have to do programming really. You have to actually just have some idea about SQL queries. So it was like they had everything done in Oracle. So they
Okay.
had Oracle forms and everything where they used to
Gotcha.
generate the bills. They used to generate electricity bills. And the only thing which you have to do is they will teach you some process in case there is some issue. You have to
Yeah.
just run these are Oracle queries, and then that's it. I was like,
Nice.
okay, I think I'll be writing code at least somehow. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I did that for 4 months, and then by the end of, I think it was December 2010, I got a job because our contract was about to end. It was
Yeah.
just a 4 months contract, and luckily I got a job, and that was my first real job where I was actually doing .NET programming,
Yeah.
but it was like Windows.NET. It was for a company called Capita. Capita is, I think, a very big company in UK. They are
Okay.
into BPOs and IPOs. So it was like Capita, but Indian part. So it's Capita India. And
Gotcha.
again, it was like a low paying job, but at least I could actually do some coding though. So I got started working on this Windows Forms. So and there was nothing much to do. So Windows Forms, and then there were hardly some new features or new changes which used to come. And I spoke to my manager. I was like, okay, look, I don't have much of job. I think much of work to do. Can we actually do some other projects as well, or take some other projects? He was like, do one thing. I think you can study, right? I mean, if you have free time,
Yeah.
that's you can do. So I was like, okay. I mean,
That's
you
pretty
don't have.
awesome.
Yeah. So he had never had any issues what I'm doing. He was like, okay, you have free time, you can study. So I started reading this Microsoft documentation. So I think that was MSDN. Remember that? So MSDN docs. So I used to actually
Yes, I do remember those.
so I used to go through each and every API, so file system and this read file, everything. So I used to actually take notes, and
Right.
so that's what I started doing. Then my friend who actually used to sit next to me, he was a DBA, database administrator. So he was
Okay.
really good with queries. So I asked him to actually teach me some of stored procedure stuffs and
I
functions.
need a friend who's really good at queries, because I can never keep track of it. Sorry, keep going though.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, of course, everyone needs a friend who is actually good at queries. So
Exactly.
he actually used to write all these stored procedure for my Windows application whenever
Okay.
I needed something. So I asked him to teach me. So he was like, okay, anyways, I'm free, right? Most of the time.
Yeah.
So he taught me some stored procedure stuff, function stuff, how to do that. And that's, I did, I think, I'm not sure. In project, I was doing well, but I think I studied well. So I could get my next job. And then I got my next job with like 100% raise into a new organization. And
Awesome. 100% raise.
yeah,
That's nice.
exactly. I mean, I was already getting underpaid because of this 2008 thing which happened, right? So it
Right.
was really difficult to get a good paying job that time. So once I worked for like 10 months, and then switched on to a new job where I got 100% raise. Then once I joined that was another bank. And I worked for like 10 months again there. It so again 10 months, and then I got another offer from this startup where I actually started working from 2011. And again, I,
Nice.
I think I did really well in bank as well. Again, there was like raise was around, I think, 100% raise which I received. And in interview, my HR was like, look, you have been changing your job every 10 months. uh, can we expect you to stay for a year? I was like, look, give me this much salary and the work which I need, because in all the jobs I never had some anything to do.
Yeah.
and then I will stay for a year. I guarantee you, I can write it on paper if you want. If you can pay me this much and then give me the work which I need. And
Yeah.
she was like, okay, I think we can do that. So she
Did she have
agreed
you
to pay.
sign the paper?
No, no,
No.
they did.
Okay.
So they paid me. They whatever salary I was expecting, they gave that pay, and then
Yeah.
work was really good. And when once I started working, and I think my team manager, she's really like a sister to me, because she helped me a lot later in my career. So she used to sit beside me, I think in another office. So we had like two office was actually separated by a door where we had a meeting room in between, and
Yeah.
developers used to sit on the both of the sides. So I started bothering her too much. So whenever she used to give me any work, I used to like, I think within a day I used to finish everything, and then I used to go back and tell her I need some work.
Yeah.
So after I think 3 to 4 days, she got fed up. She was like, "Come here." She asked me to come into a meeting room, and she says, "Look, we actually don't have that much work here, and stop asking me to give you work, because I have to again think what to do next. So if you don't have any work, please sit. Please don't." I was like, okay. But I said, look, I have never worked in my last 3 years career. I have never worked enough, and I think I can see there is a lot of things to do here. So she says, okay, if you think there is something which you can do in the current project, you can do that. And I started doing by my own. I mean, doing fixes, doing new features if needed. So that's how it started. I was doing really well with that Windows application. It was again Windows application, and I think I did for like a few months, and then we moved on to we started working on this ASP.NET MVC, which was really, I think, in around 2012. ASP.NET MVC was like at the peak. Everyone was using ASP.NET MVC,
Yeah.
and we decided that we want to build a team. And my manager, he actually asked me if I want to join that team, where we will be building an ASP.NET MVC application. I was like, okay, I always wanted to work in web. Why should I say no? Because of the
Yeah.
work which I did. So he was really impressed, and he offered me that. So he said, look, the plan is to actually there are a bunch of developers, but they don't know ASP.NET MVC. So you have to study. So we'll give you like 3 months where you can actually set up the initial application and study as well. So you have to actually study and then implement, and then another 3 months. So we have 6 months time to actually finish that project.
Right.
So I was like, okay, no, not an issue. So that's where I actually met one of my friend who used to sit next to me for 6 months, but we never spoke. So we started working. We started working in the same team, and he was like really. He is in Canada right now, but he was. I mean, he is like god of .NET. So
Really?
he also manages a few packages on NuGet. Uh,
Okay.
yeah. So he was really good. I mean, in .NET, and he actually I learned a lot from him. And then we started working together. We used to actually come and study, read about the documentation, see which how it can actually we can implement in our project, and then how it started, right? So we
Yeah.
started doing it, and before actually we could finish that project, this happened. So my wife was expecting, and one day actually my doctor gave me a bad news that, okay, I think she has some complications, so you have to see another doctor. We went to that doctor, and he was like, okay, we have to do surgery, urgent surgery. Otherwise, I don't think so we'll be able to save anyone.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So I said, okay. Of course, you have to sign some papers, right? So in case
Yeah.
something goes wrong, so no one is responsible. Everything. I think I was crying that night. I couldn't do anything,
Yeah, I
and
can't imagine. I can't imagine.
so
That's
I called my friends, the same friends from my college. So I called them. They were like, so a doctor told us that we have to do a surgery next day, 6 a.m. in the morning. And he said, look, we actually there is an hospital which was like 30 kilometers from my house, and we have seen some cases where they could save a baby who was born like 700 grams.
Mhm.
So I think if we can transfer the baby once she is born at that hospital, she or he, we were not aware actually. So
Yeah.
once baby is born, we will move the baby to that hospital. So I called one of my friends. We went to that hospital to see. We met the dean of that hospital, and then the head doctor who was about to take care of the baby. So we
Yeah.
actually got, I think, the atmosphere was really good, so we could see actually some hope. So we went there and then came back, and we agreed to do all the surgery. I think my friends were like in hospital at 6 a.m. in the morning. I was really surprised. So everyone
That's
came.
awesome.
Yeah, so everyone came 6 a.m. in the morning, and then as soon as the surgery was done, my baby was like shown to me. Just take the pic, and then she was like taken to the hospital. So
Oh my
she was
goodness.
there for, yeah. So she was
How
there.
little was she when she came out?
She was really small, I think,
Oh
this
my
much,
goodness.
and she was like 845 grams when she was born, even not a kg. So she got moved to another hospital where she was like for 3 months from August. So sorry, from July. So from July she was there for like another 3 months. She was on ventilator for around 2 months.
Yeah, for my American friends, 845 grams is less than 2 pounds. That's crazy. Yeah, but sorry to interrupt you, Santosh. Please
No, no.
keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's so I used to actually, that was my schedule. I used to go to hospital first, then come back to my
Yeah,
office, and
yeah,
it was like really, I used to start early so I can manage all that. And I remember I used to sleep sometime in my office, and my manager was really, so someone, I mean, you have good people and bad people as well, right? So someone from our office actually went to my manager and said, look, he's actually sleeping in the office. So my manager actually told him, that's not your problem. He's completing his entire work, and he's going through some rough phase. So leave it up to me, and don't bother to actually.
Your manager was trying to tell on you for sleeping in your office.
No, no, not my manager. I mean, he was supporting me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I
So
see.
the other guy who actually went to him, and he was actually about complaining about the thing
Yeah.
which we doing. So
No,
my manager, yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah, I
Oh,
know. I
someone
mean,
do that.
so he could have told that in my face, but he went to my manager, and of course my manager was like, why you are coming to me? Because he is
Yeah.
my resource, he is doing very well, he is completing his work, and I don't have any problem with him. Let him sleep, because he is actually going through rough phase, and then he have to travel a lot. So let him sleep, I don't have any problem. And I was like, and I came to know about this from my friend, with whom I was working right in the project. He said, look, this guy came, and he was like a really, I think he will never do anything, something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean,
That's
my
crazy.
manager was really good. So I mean, that instance happened, I think, and my medical bills were like growing, right? So it was like,
Yeah.
as I mentioned, it was around 11k
Oh my goodness.
dollars, and I could get 25% from my income insurance, medical insurance.
Yeah.
So I had to manage all those money. So I took some loans from and borrowed money from my friends. And finally I was like, okay, now I think I won't be able to survive in this salary, which I had received like a year earlier. I had received 100% raise. So I
Yeah.
went to my manager, and I was like, I think it was really 6 or 7 p.m. in the evening, 7 p.m.
Mhm.
I think. And I went to him and said, look, his name was Ignatius de Melo. Uh, and he's one of the best manager I have ever worked. He was really a good developer as well. So I went to him and I said, look, Ignatius, so we used to call him Iggy. Uh, so I said, I don't think so I'll be able to manage in this salary because of things which are going on. So he asked me how much you are expecting. So I mean, rather than actually talking to me and saying we cannot do anything, he was like, how much you are expecting? I was like, okay, I'm expecting this much, which was around, I think, more than 50% of the raise I was expecting.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, let me give me some time. And literally within few weeks we had our this all the process where we'll get some raise.
Yeah.
So he actually offered me around 50% raise. I was really surprised, and I went, actually I was I was crying, and then I went to him and I said thank you for doing this. So he said, you are doing great. I mean, you are actually a resource to be trusted in our organization, so why shouldn't we? Even
Yeah.
I spoke to he spoke to our CEO, and our CEO was like really, he said, no, 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 Santosh needs to stay. I mean, because he's doing really great, and whatever salary he's asking for, let's give him.
Yeah.
So that's how it started. So they
Dude,
started.
hearing that kind of praise, that's almost as good as the salary. Like it's not really, but it's just hearing
Yeah.
that kind of feedback. That's awesome.
So that's, I mean, so I started giving more time towards my startup. I mean, not my startup, but the organization where I was working for,
Right.
because of things which they did to me, did for me actually. And
Mhm.
then every year they gave me good raise. So every
Yeah.
year actually, I never got a raise below 35%.
Oh
So that,
wow.
yeah, so every year I got a raise, then I got promotions, and finally I think around 2015 I was like, okay, now it's more than enough, because I have a team of 22 people. I'm not able to do much of coding, and the new manager was an idiot, I would say. So yes, actually, if he I mean, if he ever tries to actually call me, I think he should be careful.
Mhm.
So that manager was really bad.
Yeah.
So even I had a fight with him, due to one of his boys. He actually he used what he used to do is, whenever he used to go, he used to actually bring one of his one of his, or I would say, one of his boys who used to
What, one
his,
of his children or like a friend?
not friend, one of his like co-worker who he can trust
Okay.
on, because he don't know everything.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, and so
One
that's
of
how it
one of
was.
his people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So then I
Okay.
then I decided, okay, it's more than enough now. I have to leave. And then 2015 I decided to move on, and I came to Pune. So I got a job in Pune here, and
Pune.
yeah, that I think that was a really good step which I had taken. So once I came back to Pune, I realized I was getting a lot of time. I could see I'm actually I was surprised, because I used to work like crazy hours. I used to even work for like weekends. Even there were times I have to be in office for like 3 to 4 days, and I used to come home after 4 days. So all those were gone. So I could see, okay, now I'm getting a lot of time. So I started working. I started writing blog posts, because that's I wanted to write that. So I wrote some blog post on .NET and Angular and Angular JS,
Okay.
and I got opportunities to actually teach Angular JS first. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, and I started teaching Angular JS around 2017, Jan 2017. That's where I started, and after few, I think after few classes, Angular was released. Angular 4 was released, so we
Right.
moved on to Angular as well. And to 2017 was really good, because I could see, okay, I'm getting some extra money which is helping me. So I actually paid a lot of loans, and then I purchased a lot of things for my house. I purchased a bed. From 2015, actually 2015 to 2017, uh, we used to actually just we had a mat. So we had just a mat, and then we have to actually used to put that mat on our house, and then we used to sleep. So finally
Yeah.
purchased a bed for my family. And by the end of 2017, my wife got sick, because that mattress was really old, a 2-year old mattress, and it was not good quality, because of course we never had money, that much money to afford a new or good mattress. Then
Yeah.
I purchased a mattress as well, a good quality mattress, which we are still using after I think 3 years. It's still in
Nice.
good condition.
It made the
Uh,
move. It made the move
yeah,
to the new apartment. Nice.
yeah. So it was around, I think at that time it was around more than $400 mattress.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, but it's really good. So we are still using it, as I said. So and then 2017 was really good, and then I got a job in Deutsche Bank as well. And by the end of 2017, as I started working on Angular full time,
Yeah.
and but I
Is
somehow
is there something about Angular that you really like? Do you like it a lot more than .NET, or
uh,
is that even something that comes into your mind? I'm curious.
actually, yeah. So when I moved to Pune, my project was an Angular JS plus .NET. It was not
Okay.
Angular, but Angular JS plus .NET, and really liked Angular JS. And so once Angular was released, Angular 4 was released, I started teaching it, and I could see it's really easy to understand, because being from .NET background, right? So TypeScript
Hmm.
was easy to understand, and I could relate, I mean, easily. So I started teaching it,
Yeah.
and I fell in love. Okay, this is the framework where I want to work.
Yeah.
And in
So
bank, actually, yeah.
yeah, so Angular was my introduction to web development. Like I had done any web development before Angular, like
Okay.
not Angular JS, just like Angular
Uh,
2 when that
okay.
first came out. And I thought it was like so easy. And it was bizarre to me because I see all these people online complaining about how
Completely.
bad it is. I'm like, this is
Exactly.
so nice. This is so easy. I don't
Exactly.
get it. But
That's what my thought was as well, because
yeah.
I mean, so I started working on Angular full time. Then in bank we had to actually do from scratch. So we were creating a framework from in Angular 4 on top of Angular, and then we did that. 2017 was really good, and by
Yeah.
2018 I got some again some bad news. So 2018 was the first thing which happened was uh, the so there is a company in India. They are into edtech. So I was teaching for them online, and suddenly, actually, they were not friendly. I think one day I got sick, so I said, "Okay, look, I'm sick, and I won't be able to take the classes today." And they said, "Okay, that's not our problem, and you will be actually we will deduct some money for that." I was like, "What? That's not actually be human at least." I was like, "This is not
Yeah.
fair." And then I decided that I will not continue working with you, because that's something which does not make sense. Be
Hmm.
human first. I think you can make money every time because you are really big, but I think be human first. So I left them.
Absolutely.
I left them in around Feb 2018, and I was actually demotivated as well because I was learning from Angular, and I was not learning. My learning was stopped because I was putting so much time in actually teaching it, and
Yeah.
couldn't learn new things. Right? I mean, you have to
Yeah.
always learn new things. So I was again demotivated that I'm not learning anything new, and more than that, actually, I wanted to do something for Angular community because I was getting paid for actually a framework which I'm using to teach, and I'm getting paid at my work, but I'm not doing giving anything back.
Yeah.
I was like, I think I should do something for that as well. But there was no one to actually guide me in 2018. So I got demotivated, and then suddenly this actually teaching thing went away. And then there was a guy who actually called me and said, "Look, we want to create some videos for programming." I was like, "Okay, I will do that." So I invested like 3 to 4 months in that, and he didn't pay me all the money. And by
Yeah.
the time
I
it had
remember that from the article.
yeah.
That seems so scummy of them. Did they still publish your course, or did
No,
what?
they don't.
No.
They don't. No.
Okay.
I think they did publish few, but I'm not sure if they all, because I never bothered to check. Because
Yeah.
as soon as that happened, actually my daughter was diagnosed with TB.
Mm.
So doctor said, we went to our doctor who is in Mumbai. So
Hmm.
he said, like, you have to actually visit every once in a month. So okay, I said, okay, no problem. So he said nothing to worry about. So it can be cured with medicines. So
Hmm.
for next 9 months, actually, we used to travel to Mumbai like every month. And
Hmm.
my manager at Deutsche Bank was actually really helpful. He said, "Look, whenever you need leave, just take it. Don't need to ask me." Right. So I mean, the next 9 months were like okay, but by Jan 2019, I thought like let's start doing something for the community as well. And then I went to one of the conferences which happened in India in 2019,
Yeah.
and there I actually met Vikram. So there were a lot of speakers. I mean, there were, I think Jan was there, Jan Nicholas, Michael Haldaki, and Stamina. I mean, I don't remember her full name, but she was there. Martina, not no, Martina from Poland, I think she was there. So a lot of great speakers and speakers from India.
Yeah.
So we had Pankaj Parker, Srishti Jain, not Srishti Jain, Nishu Goyal, might know her. So Nishu Goyal, she was also there. So I was really inspired. I like, okay, these guys are really big. Uh, so I went to Vikram. I spoke to him about like 5 minutes. I spoke to him how to actually start contributing to Angular. Actually, I wanted to do it from long time, but I think I am not able to do it. He said, look, you can do some stuffs like writing blog posts, creating contents, and but I was like, okay, and what about GitHub? So he said, okay, you can also contribute to GitHub, and then you can start replying on issues, start actually help us with the documentation, because this is one area where we need a lot of help. And once you do that, I think you can also get invited to our collaborator program, where you
Mm.
can actually work with team. And I was like, okay, I think this sounds great, good. And once I went home, I started looking. Actually, it was 22nd Feb, and I went home 23rd Feb. Entire night I was looking at some issues which I can do in
Yeah.
GitHub. And then I gave up. I was like, okay, there is nothing which I can do in Angular repository. And then I went to NGRX. So I went to NGRX repository, and I found an issue related to schematics. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I think schematics is something which I wanted to take. I wanted to actually learn. So
Yeah.
let's take this issue. And I was like, okay. So I I actually made a comment. Can I take this issue? And Brandon replied, I think yes, you can. And then I started working.
Brandon. He might be lurking around
Not
here.
not a Brandon, right? Not a Brandon.
Not Brandon. Yes.
So I started. I worked on that issue. I think next 2 days, I did some research how to actually do it, and I could see, okay, there is a new API which is actually released in Angular, uh, and then I actually, okay, I said, okay, I raised a PR. I think it was around 28 Feb, and next day Brandon merged it. So and I was really motivated now. Oh my god, I made my first open source contribution.
That's so cool. And you made it to NGRX of all things.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Exactly. So I was
Dude,
like, okay, and
I
then
love NGRX. Everything about it, man. They do
Actually.
such a good job over there. But yeah. Sorry to interrupt again.
No problem. So that's how it started. So I started contributing. I was not aware of GD program at that time. I just really wanted to give back to the community because of the impact which it actually made on my life. I could see I'm earning good money, and now it's my time to give back. So I started contributing more towards NGRX, and by mid-March, I think I found one issue finally in Angular repository as well, which I could work on. So it was really a doc thing. So this Angular library, right? So I had to just document the Angular library structure in the docs. So that was done by me. So I raised that issue, and then I was not aware how the Angular this whole process works. So a lot of people helped me, and then I was surprised to see a comment from Brandon, because Brandon is everywhere. So
or is not Brandon everywhere?
I was like, okay, this guy is here as well. So I realized, okay, he works for Angular core team, Angular docs team, and he actually maintains NGRX. I was not into that much into open source, right? So I was really surprised to see him at both the places. And then it was reviewed. I think everyone helped. So Alan from the Angular CLI team, then George is always there. Then Kapanhele. So everyone actually helped with the review process, and then I think after 9 days or 10 days, it was merged finally. So that was my first contribution to Angular as well. So I started doing that, and of course, being GD was not an motivation for me. I was like, I am really loving it. I'm really loving this open source thing, and I started contributing more toward NGRX. This is where I met Wes and Tim. So I remember there was an issue where we were migrating Angular, not NGRX to TypeScript, TypeScript 3 or 3 point something, and it was a new release. I think Angular 8 release. Yeah, I think Angular 8. So we were migrating it, and it was like 4. I was working till 4 a.m. in the morning, and I was really exhausted. But Tim was like, okay, if I can always help you. You know that, right?
What time is it there now?
It's 5 a.m.
What's the difference? Sorry. Keep going.
So he actually asked me, if you ever need help, you can always ping to me. I was like, okay, actually I'm stuck because I'm not able to figure out. There are few test cases which are failing. So he actually helped me. In my time zone, it was around 2 a.m. when I received a mail from him next day, and I was really surprised to see actually that much dedication towards actually helping community members from him. And that's why I consider Tim and Wes as my mentors into open source, because that's where they actually handholded me and said, okay, look, if you never ever need help, we are always there. And I was,
that's awesome.
Of course, I was taken care. I mean, whatever time I contributed to NGRX, they always helped me a lot, and they were the first actually to introduce me to in-depth. So Wes was like, okay, I was working on one of the issues, and he said, okay, I think we can convert it to a blog post. I was like, really? So he said, yes, we can. I think Tim also said, yes, we can. And
Tim was doing a lot of blog posts for a while there, I remember. Yeah, they were really good, but
And then Brandon also replied, yes, I think this should be converted into a blog post. And I said, yes, okay, I'll try to write, because I have never written in more than a year. But I will try to do that. And as I published, I think I wrote a draft on Medium. I think because Medium was the platform which we used to prefer at that time, and that was really bad. I mean, I would say that. So that draft was really bad, And
Oh,
they
okay.
took it to in depth. I think there were, and they came back and they said, look, don't get demotivated. There are a lot of I think feedbacks which we have received. I was like, no, I really don't care about it. I want to improve. So whatever feedback is that, just give it to me. I will try to work on.
Mm.
And then after a lot of repetitions, I think it took around 15 days, and I'm
Yeah.
sure they were frustrated as well. What this guy writes, we don't know.
Dude,
So
it's actually, I think it's sometimes hard to get someone to say something negative about stuff you've written, but that will help you. Like, I feel like that's something I struggle with too. It's like they're trying to be nice to me, but I don't want them to be nice to me. I want them to be mean so I could get better from it.
yeah.
Sometimes, not all the time.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. But it should be constructive, right? So that's what I believe in,
Absolutely.
constructive
Yeah.
feedback. So it was really constructive feedback, I would say. And after 15 days, it was finally in a shape that it can be published. And I was really excited. I was like, okay, in depth is like it was the Angular in depth that time. And I
Yeah.
remember I used to read a lot of blog posts from Angular in depth because of the contents and all the writers, right? So we had a lot of great
Oh, they
writers.
do amazing work.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing work.
So Max was there, Wes was there, Team was already writing, and a lot of
Mhm.
other GDs were there. So I really liked it. And then I think that was the first article which I wrote for NGRX. And then after that, I think Angular 8 was released, and they said, okay, if anyone is interested into writing a blog post for Angular 8, I was like, okay, I will do that. So and that Angular 8 article was really, I think it has more than 100K views.
Oh,
I
wow.
wrote it. Yeah, I wrote it with one of the other writer. So his name is Roman. We wrote it together, and it was published. And then a lot of people actually came back with good feedbacks, and I was loving it. Right, whatever I was doing. So I used to do open source. I was writing. I started my own open source projects, and this is where after Angular 8 released, I actually created my first open source project, which was Netlify Builder, uh, which
Okay.
is which is actually part of the Angular docs as well. So I created it for for fun. Just wanted to see what Angular builders can do, and actually it got pretty good response from the community,
Yeah.
and it was in docs, and then everyone appreciated that work. I think it is used by more than 200 projects on.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Just seeing that though. That's so cool. I think so. Open source. I've talked about this before on my channel, but it seems like this crowning achievement of humanity. Like that. So there's this concept of the commons, right? Like in older times, this would have been like this field out there that everyone could kind of use, and someone might take their flock in there, and they could eat some of the grass, and other people might take their animals there, or some people might have it to play around in. But it's like limited. Like if too many people start setting their
Yeah.
animals there to eat, it becomes wasted. But the thing that's so cool about like open source stuff and just the world we live in now is we can put stuff in there and
Yeah.
people can take it out without actually depleting it in any way.
Yeah.
Like it's all still there. In fact,
Yes.
by them taking it, it actually helps because that's a new set of eyes on it that like could potentially make it better either by fixing it themselves or saying, hey, there's a problem with this at least. So someone else who knows how to fix it can fix it. But it's super exciting to see what this could potentially do for humanity. I think we're just scratching the surface. Like that's my thought. But
Agreed.
yeah.
So that's how it started. So open source. Then and then I received a mail from one of the program manager for GD from India. So he actually messaged me on LinkedIn, has said, hey, look, we are looking for some people for our GD program. Would you be interested? I was like, okay. I heard about GD program, but I was like, okay, this is something I don't think so I'll be able to actually get in, because I heard from few people that it takes years. And I was like, I'm still 6 months into this open source stuff. I don't think so I'll be able to make it. But he said, no, you can apply at least. So I was like, okay, let's see. And I think within a month I was accepted. My
nice, man.
was accepted. I was like, okay. I mean, I heard from few people that it takes years. How it is possible to actually do it in 6 months? So I mean, I was really surprised. But I think this is where it was going. So, and I think. Yeah. So at that time, I was actually about to speak at my first conference, which was NG Sri Lanka. So NG Sri Lanka was happening, and I got a tweet of on tweet from the organizer that they are looking for speakers, and I just spoke to him that, look, I'm ready to speak at the this conference. And he was like, you have to actually manage your own travel, because this is free conference, we are not charging anything. I was like,
Wow.
look, anyways, I want to actually do for community, so I'll pay my travel. That's not a problem. So he said, okay, I'll take care of stay. You have to actually pay the travel, and it's not much from India to Sri Lanka. So and then I said, okay. So this is how it was finalized, and I went to Sri Lanka, came back, and then my fine interview was scheduled with Chris Noring. So Chris was really nice to me, and he was like, look, I already know about you. I see your tweets. I saw your blog post. They're really interesting, and you're doing great. And we would love to actually have you in GD program. And he asked me why you want to become a Google developer expert. I was like, okay, I think the one thing where GD program can help me is actually I want to speak at a lot of conferences and meetups, and I think this is something which I can achieve using this GD program.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was not motivation. That's not my motivation. Anyways, I mean, if I can make it, that's good. Otherwise, anyways, I will continue doing what I'm doing because I'm loving it. I'm loving
Yeah.
this open source things. So he was like, okay, so that's first interview went, and then I had a second interview with Stephen, and Stephen he asked some technical questions. Then he actually came on to that Angular part, and he said, "You contribute to Angular?" I was like, "Yes, I do." And he went to the repository to check if I really do. So he went to that repository and he checked, okay, my username, whatever it was, and then he found, okay, you are into top 100 contributors. I was like, yes, I am. And he was, it was like 6 months. That was my target actually, to be there in 6 months
Hmm.
from Feb. So I made it by June. I think that I completed that target by June or July, something. So I told him that that was my target actually, to be in top 100 contributors for Angular. And he was okay, this is good. And then he came to my open source project. He was like, Netlify, you work for Netlify? I was like, no, I don't work for Netlify. But why you did it? I was like, I just wanted to do it for fun, because I did it as my one of the side projects, and then I decided to make it open source. Okay.
Dude,
And
that's so awesome.
so, I mean, then for a feedback, we have to wait a lot. So it was like more than a month, and I was like, okay, I think I'm rejected. It was literally more than a month. And there was Family Day, I think, in Deutsche Bank. I remember that. So it was in November. So November we had Family Day, and I went there with my family, and I received a mail that I have cleared my second interview. I was and I started crying. My wife says, my wife like, what happened? What you're doing? There are a lot of people here. Don't cry. Let's leave. Let's leave. So we left there from like 5 minutes in 5 minutes because I was crying. And we went home. Then I was really happy to see that mail. Okay, I'm a GD now. Of course it took some time, but by 10th November I received a mail that I have cleared my second interview, and on my birthday I received a mail that I'm a GD now. So yep. So that's how it started. But I was really happy to actually achieve that, but I was not expecting again a drastic some bad thing which was about to happen. So I think before this is something which happened at Deutsche Bank. I never spoke about it a lot. I mean, I thought let's not talk about it, but I think it's worth mentioning that issue as well. So it was like around October, this DevFest was going on, and I decided to apply for few DevFest, and one of my talk was selected as at not NG Poland, but Poland, GDG Poland. So I was about to travel to GDG Poland, and then I needed an NOC from the bank.
Right.
So the bank had to actually write that he's just going for this conference, and then that's what they had to do. But I was surprised to receive a mail that it is rejected because anyone above below a vice president or managing director cannot actually represent bank at any of the conferences. I was like really surprised, because we claim to be a tech bank, and then we have I think we are actually stopping people from actually doing some good things. So I was really surprised, and then I said, okay, look, if this is something which is happening, I don't think so I'm going to stay. Within a week I think I resigned. So I,
Mm.
I spoke to Serkan. You know Serkan, right? So from In Depth. Serkan. So I spoke to Serkan, and he actually came up with one of the job offers. He said, "Would you like to work with me?" I was like, "Okay, why not?" And this is how it happened. So,
Nice.
I received all the documents, all the contracts from that side, and then I resigned within a week. And I think this is where they didn't like it, because I raised one issue, and I decided to resign. It was like slap on their face, right? Because
Hmm.
if you cannot do it, let go to hell. It was like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they didn't took it nicely. Not my manager. My manager tried to help me a lot, but the other department, which was actually who actually rejected my request, right? So they
Right.
didn't took it nicely, and my manager was also angry because I resigned, and he was like, I'm losing a great resource because of you, because of those people. So he escalated internally, and it was they were like into backseat now, because they have to take a lot of they have to answer a lot of people. And I received a call from one of the managing director of that particular department. He said, look, Santosh, you have already decided to leave. Just do us a favor, never speak about this issue outside of the bank. I was like, okay. um, and there was then after a week, I think after a week, when this call happened, after
Yeah.
a week, there was a town hall. Okay, so we had a new CIO of tech who was joining us. His name was Neil Patel. I think he might be still with the bank.
Okay.
So in I decided to raise this issue in that town hall as well, because of course that's why you arrange town halls, right?
Yeah.
And once I raised this issue in town halls, this entire the communication team, I think it was taken care by communication team, and the communication team is responsible for arranging this town halls as well. I mean, they made the shit, and then they actually. So I raised this issue with CIO of tech, and he was like, "Okay." So he tried to avoid the question, answering my question. He was like,
Yeah.
"Look, we are actually struggling now. The bank is struggling a little bit, so we cannot afford people traveling to other countries." And I was like, "Okay, just let me clear. You don't have to pay anything. You just had to give me NOC."
Yeah.
And being a tech being a and we claim to the word actually I used is, we claim to be a tech company rather than being called a bank. We claim to
Yeah.
be a tech company, and then this is something which this is the list which we can do, right? I mean, of course, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to pay my travel. You don't have to pay my stay. You just need to
Yeah.
give me NOC so I can speak at conferences. And I think being a tech company, we should support OSS, because we are already using a lot of OSS stuff inside the
Yeah.
company. So he was
Absolutely.
like, he had nothing to answer, right? So he had to agree with me. So but I think I mean, maybe he was angry, the entire company was angry because I raised this, and it was like I'm asking them the right questions, why they are not supporting OSS. They took it in a bad way. So after that, whatever happened was really bad. So they decided to destroy my entire career. They asked me to leave the premises.
That's
So
messed up. It's
yeah,
messed up,
so
man.
they asked me, okay, just leave the premises until you complete your notice period, which was 2 months. And they never supported, never actually supported my new employer. So whenever I needed some documents, they were like, no, we cannot give it. We don't have process. We don't give this. We don't do that. I mean, I was like, I know everything what they are telling is a fake, but I mean, that's the list I could do, right? So my new employer was really good. So the HR said, look, Santosh, don't worry about it. Whatever happens, even they don't give the documents, you are still joining us.
Yeah.
And that's what we are going to do. So don't worry about anything. Let it go as it is. So I waited till like Feb, and then it was like they escalated this entire issue till even after I left. So they delayed all the documentation things. So intentionally, of course. And then finally by mid-Feb, everything was settled. I mean, I
Hmm.
could say bye to them, and I don't have anything to do with Deutsche Bank now. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that I'm not a part of Deutsche Bank, because I don't want to work with an organization who doesn't care
Yeah.
about OSS. I
Well,
mean,
well,
they
who would try to sandbag or destroy someone's career over
exactly
bringing up that kind of question? That's
exactly.
ridiculous.
So and I'm sure I'm down with banks as well, and I will never work with banks. I think I really had a really bad experience. I mean, I never imagined that standing for OSS will actually uh, I mean, I have to struggle this much, because I thought OSS is something which is supporting a lot of organizations, right? And it is for free. So this is the list you can do, but what you decided to do was actually to destroy my entire career. And I remember crying in the office, because of course I was not scared for myself, but for my family, right? I built a career. I was able to give them a good life. Now everything I could see was like,
well, seeing after all you've built, to think that all that could be in jeopardy now because what? Because you spoke up for OSS and they're trying to shut you down. That's it's like you said before, like, be human first.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
So I mean, yeah. So that's happened, and then after 2019, everything is going actually great. Apart from one instance, I will not mention that. I mean, whatever happened was happened on Twitter. You know about it. So apart from that, everything was good. I mean, I started getting a lot of opportunities to speak at meetups. So I remember after March, I'm at least every week I'm speaking at meetups. I need some rest. So I think I won't be doing it after October. I'll take rest in November and December at least. So that's how it is going on right now. So
awesome, man. Well, tell me a little bit about your YouTube channel you're working on now. I saw you already got, what was it, 353 subscribers now?
Yeah, including you.
Included me as of today. I signed up today. I'm a subscriber now.
Yeah. So it was actually around May that I actually I took some rest from Twitter, and then I just thought of like what I really wanted to do in this year. So I was like, I wanted to speak. Okay, I'm doing that. I am speaking a lot. So then I said, okay, I wanted to start a actually YouTube channel where I can interview the people from the community. And that's what I wanted to do. So what I decided is, okay, let me just set up my channel.
That's what I want to do too.
Yeah. So I asked Max Koretsky. So I asked if I can get some help in creating banners for my channel. And he was like, feel free to do that. I mean, so we have a designer in In-Depth, you know about it. So she, her name is Ira. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's Ira Kasparova. She's really great designer. So I spoke to her, and then she agreed to actually design the banner for my channel, and she gave me three images, and then the current one which I've used that, and for all the upcoming episodes she creates the banner. So I'm really bad at doing all this stuff. So I always speak to her, and I always ask her, okay, can you just create this banner? And she's like, okay, let me do that. It's like, it's easy, right? It's easy for me. So that's how it started. So I set up my channel. Then I said, okay, let me just. So I decided to speak to Lars. I said, Lars, would you like to be my first guest on my channel? He was like, okay, let's do it.
Nice.
And
Lars was my second guest. First was Nicole, but Lars is amazing, man. I can't. The stuff that man accomplishes like blows my mind.
Actually. So he said, okay, but we were not sure about topic, but I reached out and said, can we talk about monorepos? Because he was actually writing a lot of articles for NX. So I said, okay, let's talk about monorepos, and then that's how we started in July. And then now I think last guest was Brandon Roberts this month actually, and it's going really great.
The Brandon one. It's so cute.
So we have like now more than 350 subscribers, more than 120 hours watched, and a lot of good feedbacks I'm getting from the community as well. They are really liking it because of actually they can ask questions, and the questions which we already have was really good. So they really liked it. So
awesome, man. That's awesome. I've got I didn't realize you had so many. For some reason, I thought Brandon was your first one, but it looks like you've done quite a few before then.
Yeah. So we had Martina Cross. We had.
You got an episode on Blazor. That's awesome.
Yeah. So Ankit is one of the Google developer expert from India. So I invited him to talk about Blazor. That was second episode actually.
Yeah, and Blazor seems super interesting to me. Intriguing, maybe is the right word. I actually I kind of like just have the like JavaScript-ish stuff, but just seeing that kind of innovation is pretty neat too. So, anyways,
yeah. So that's what I'm doing with my channel right now.
Awesome.
So I think this month I moved on to like three streams per month. Earlier it was like two streams per month. So when I started in July and August, from September it's 3. And okay, let me just disclose the future as well. From November onwards, I'm going to move on to 4 episodes. So it will be like one stream
once
every
a week.
Once a week. Yeah, and I'm going to start taking the guests as well. So I'll open the calendar where people can just sign up. I mean, most of people do that. I was not doing it for some reason. It was like right now it was invitation based.
Yeah. No, that's what I've been doing too. I've had a couple people now come to me, which is kind of nice, but most of it has been like pretty much cold calling people. I think that's pretty much how I got you. I was just like, who would I want to talk to? Santosh seems like he would be. I think did I reach out to you before your article?
Yeah, you reached out to me before that article happened.
Okay, yeah. I thought it was before the article, but I didn't want to lie. So, but yeah, and I was like, Santosh seems like he'd be really interesting to talk to. So I think I reached out to you as like, hey, you want to talk? And you're like, yeah. that was great. But yeah, it would be a lot nicer if people were just all lining up and coming to me, so I didn't have to chase people down. So, I gotta look into that.
So that's what I'm planning to do. So from November, I'll open the calendar so people can sign up and they can actually be part of the show.
Awesome.
So that's the plan which I'm doing.
To anyone watching either live now or recorded in the future, make sure you check out this link below. Go subscribe. Let's get Santosh up to 500 as soon as possible. We got to promote the heck out of this thing.
Thank you.
It's great. Sweet, man. Well, I wanted to like bring up a couple of last things before we go. The big one was just the ending quote from your article. Let me see. I lost the browser. I had this open. Oh, there it is. Okay. So at the very end of your article, you don't end. You don't have an ending. You're like, there's no conclusion to the story yet because you're not done. Like, and I thought that was so cool. But you end with like it's this little poem. Is my struggle over? I don't know. Will everything be all right? I don't know. Am I going to stop fighting? To quit is not an option. I thought that was such a cool ending to your story, or ending. It was such a cool capstone on top of your article, like that. Just knowing like that necessity. What humans do pretty good with necessity. I think like when faced with something that you've convinced yourself you have to overcome, I think most people overcome it, and just being able to leverage that attitude. I love that, man. That was inspiration right there to me personally. I took that. I was like, yes, that is who I am right there. Maybe instead of not Brandon, we could say I am Santosh or something like that. That would be cool. But yeah, the last thing I do before we sign off, any important wisdom you want to share with people, a last nugget of wisdom you want to give to people before we head out.
I mean, what I've seen from my entire journey is you should always reach out to the people for help. So I've seen a lot of people actually they try to fight alone. I mean, of course, it's not bad, right? So Brandon is here.
There it is. There it is. Brad did.
Yeah. So that's what I learned, that whenever you need help, you should speak to people. So in my story, you can see a lot of people actually were ready to help me whenever I called them. So let it be my college friends when I needed them, let it be my office friends when I was struggling with the finances during my daughter's thing which happened. So A lot of people
Your
actually.
friend when you needed more money to
Yeah,
go through school.
yeah, actually, of course, I never needed that money, but he actually used that words which were really, really strong, right?
Yeah.
So always reach out to the people. Even in when I started doing open source stuff, I reached out to Tim and Wes always whenever I needed some help, and they were ready to help. It's not like they said, okay, just go away. We don't actually have time. Then saying that, they said, okay, whenever you need anything, any help, let it be your articles, let it be your open source projects, just let us know. So I always reach out to people for help, and that's what helped me. Even I remember when I was working in a startup, I was not good actually my communication. I was really angry, and I used to reply rudely on mails. So I had my one of my managers who was really good into communication. So he actually one day he actually came to me and said, "Look, Santosh, you are a really good guy, but the way you reply to your mails is really not good. Okay, so you should change." Then he actually, rather than just telling me that you should change, he said, "Okay, let's sit down and see what you have to change." Right? So that's kind of people you need, right? So I think that's what I want to be. I want to be the same people who have helped me in my entire journey. So I want to help more people going onwards. So let it be open source, let it be writing blog post, or let it be sharing knowledge, right? So whatever it can be, I just want to be the same people who actually helped me in my life.
I think that's such a big message too, because just in the world we're living in, where communication is so much terser, like you're communicating over tweets or text messages or these little blurbs, it's very easy for people to be very cruel to each other. But I think the more you lean into like the development community, and I don't think that's like specific to Angular even, just in general, like people who are in this world of like contributing to open source and stuff, the more you lean into it, the more support you find. And so people are there for you. If you want to contribute, there's people who want to help enable you. I think that's huge. And also, like Santosh said, like trying to be that for other people too, and passing that forward. That's how we turn humanity into like that next level. Like that's the next generation right there. Is if we can really get that problem licked and have everyone feeling like I want to be this helpful person that who was helpful to me. I want to be just like them to someone else coming down. That's how impact and influence like exponentially grows if everyone does that. So let's do it, y'all. Just like Santosh's article, we're not done yet here. We're just getting started, and we're gonna take tech, we're gonna take humanity to that next level. So thank you so much, Santosh, for everything you do, for all your contributions to open source, for your articles, for all that stuff. It's inspiring. It's awesome to see your impact too, man. It's so cool to hear your story. Thank you so much for coming on and being a guest here with me today. Really appreciate it. So
Thanks
keep being awesome, Santosh. That's right from Brandon. That's right from not Brandon himself.
Thank you, Brandon. You too. I think you are already awesome.
Yeah, Brandon gets huge props. But yeah, I'll go ahead and end us off now because we're way over time. But that's okay. This was a great conversation. I'm so glad I had you on, Santosh. Thanks everyone for coming. Tomorrow it's Friday, so we'll be in our different slot 3 hours earlier at 3:30 Eastern time. Hope to see y'all there. And make sure you sub to Santosh's channel because it's going places. Let me tell you.
Thanks
All right, y'all. Catch you next time.